Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, and for those of you who are new, welcome. So before I start off this video, I just wanted to say Happy New Year to everyone. I hope this year is filled with happiness and success for all of you. So yeah, let's just get right into it. So the first thing that I did was I extended the cliff from behind the vintage neighborhood, and I ended up paving it with that stone path. And right now I am just adding in some fencing and some trees, kind of to mimic the vintage neighborhood I had in my other video. I know I said in my other video that this was going to be a train station, and I tried to do the train station off camera just to get an idea of what I would make this speed build on, and unfortunately I didn't really like the way that it looked. I felt like this area wasn't probably the best area to have one, so I ended up abandoning the idea for this area, but I definitely will be making a train station in another area on my island. So right now I am just adding in some more fencing just to get an idea of where I want villager houses to be, and this is actually going to be quite similar to the vintage neighborhood that I did before, except there are just some subtle differences, like in the design and in how many houses are going to be in this neighborhood, but essentially the whole thing is going to be in the same theme. So after I put down Kitty and Pearl's house, I am just continuing to put down the path around the houses and all of the empty spaces. And similar to the other neighborhood, I am just keeping in line with the street lamps, and I really love the street lamps right in front of the house openings. I just feel like they look really cute. So right now I am just figuring out if the amount of path I gave each house was enough or if it needed to be bigger, and then I added what was needed. So right now I am just finishing up putting down some fencing, and eventually I'm going to add in some more trees, and I feel like it's very important to have trees in these neighborhoods. It could be very gray if you just leave it with the stone path, so adding in some pops of color and green can make it just look very natural and very nice. So right now I am decorating Kitty's house. At first I was a little bit unsure of whether or not I liked her house. I think her roof, that purple color, was really throwing me off, but eventually I think it grew on me. I love the different shades of brown in her house, and I was actually inspired to use a lighter wood with her house, so I ended up using the antique furniture in the natural wood color and the wedding furniture in the garden customization. I just love the way that the wedding furniture looks with the antique furniture. I just think they look so beautiful together. So while creating this neighborhood, I wanted it to be very green, so I ended up just putting many plants, and I tried to put as many trees as I can without overcrowding the area, and I think that was the main inspiration for this neighborhood. I really love the way that this flowery painting looked with Kitty's house. I just felt like with all the colors inside the painting, it just brought everything together. So right now I just finished decorating Kitty's house, so I am now moving on to Pearl's, and I actually had an idea to give Pearl her own little flower garden, as you could see from the dirt path on the left, but I ended up just taking that out completely because it was very awkward to work with, so I basically flattened out the area and I added some paving and some stone fencing. Now I am just adding in this lacy rug right in front of Pearl's house. And I ended up taking away that clothesline and wash tub from that section just because I felt like it wasn't really the best place to put it, and I ended up putting in this fireplace, and I put the antique clock in the natural color and this monstera plant behind it. I really love the way that you could just see those items peeking through from behind the fireplace. I also ended up using that vintage tray table. Actually, that's one of my favorite items in the game, aside from the antique furniture and the wedding furniture. And I'm really loving all of the new food items that came with the New Year's Eve update. So right now I felt like this area was a little empty. I didn't really have a clear idea of what I wanted to do, so I ended up playing with this den desk, and I really liked the way it looked tucked behind this tree, so I ended up putting that plant on top, and yeah, I like the way it looks. And now I am just adding in some more plants. So because I ended up removing Pearl's little flower garden, I decided that I would give her something else where she could have another kind of community garden that would be in front of her house outside of her front yard. And I really like this concept. I've seen it so many times in Budapest where they have these apartment buildings or complexes where there is a ground floor or first floor, and on that floor there is an atrium and there's just a bunch of plants on that atrium, and everyone who lives in the building could just put their plants down there because that's probably the only place where the plants could thrive and live and receive sunlight. So I thought it was such a beautiful idea to have a kind of community garden inspired by that, and if I have a picture of what I'm talking about, I will definitely put it up. So right now I am just putting in some manhole covers, and I really love the way that manhole covers look like in these little neighborhood builds. I just feel like it gives it a little bit more character, and right now I am just swapping out certain items that I didn't think suited. So I took away the flower stand, I put in that wood burning stove, I added a wooden bucket in front of the garden faucet, and yeah, so right now I am just figuring out which garden wagon I like more, either the lighter color or the darker one, and eventually I just stick to the darker color. And this little area, which is the walkway through to the other areas, was a little tricky for me to design. I had some difficulties. I wasn't really sure what to put there because if I put items on the side, then it would be hard for villagers to walk through to the other side. So I had to decide what I wanted to do, and eventually I just kept it very minimal. And right now I am just trying to put this bike in the spot I want, but Pearl was being very curious and she wasn't moving out of the way. And eventually she did. And I am just doing the same sort of design techniques that I like with my scattered paper with envelopes. I love that idea to fill up certain spaces on the island. So if something looks a little bare, I really love just having the scattered papers or the manhole covers just in areas that are really empty. It just fills it in so perfectly. And right now I'm just adding in some more elements that would fill up the floor. So leaf piles, scattered papers, or manhole covers, they're all perfect options if you don't want your floors to be so bare. So I ended up picking up that fountain. I felt like it was a little too clean, so I ended up picking it up and putting in this white brick underneath it to kind of have that distressed look. So yeah, that is the finished look. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a like, and if you're not subscribed, subscribe if you'd like. It would really help me out. And also, if you are interested in more content of my island, I have more photos of my island on my Instagram. I will leave a link down below, and I guess that's it for now, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!